14. Let me change colors. You probably can't see that in the back of the room. So you can see this worksheet is very similar to the worksheets we did the last 2 days. The top has a little bit of an exploration part. We're going to actually hold off on that for just a second and then come back to it after we talk about 2 vocab words. So shift down to this section, take your highlighter, highlight adjacent, vertical, and you can go ahead and highlight linear pair angles. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The most common complaint about geometry is people don't know what the question's asking. And that comes from not knowing what the vocab words are and what they mean. It's really important to learn the vocab because then it really helps the geometry be easier. You are going to hear these vocab words a lot. Adjacent angles. That is angles that share a common ray. Angles that share a common ray. If you take and turn your face, if you turn your attention to the person to the right of you, people on this wall look to the left of you. If you have someone sitting right beside you, that would be considered adjacent. Y'all are next to each other. Okay. I am adjacent to Mia. I was going to do that. I got it. I think I was. I'm adjacent to Mia right now. I'm next to her, right? Now, if I move over here, am I adjacent to her? Not anymore. Not really. I'm diagonal, kind of. If you look in terms of angles, I want you to take your, don't take your highlighter, take your pencil and just make this ray thicker. Make it thicker. And it's because that ray is what both angles 1 and 2 have in common. So that's what makes them adjacent. Y'all stay with me. Now, vertical. This is one you definitely hear a lot. Here we go. It is angles, or angle pairs, formed by 2 intersecting lines. Angle pairs formed by intersecting lines. If 2 lines cross, you have vertical angles every time. We'll say it again for dramatic effect. If 2 lines cross at all to form some type of X, you have vertical angles every single time. And vertical angles have a special relationship. Note, they are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent. That's huge. That is very helpful when we get to these practice problems. If you've got 2 lines crossing, you can find your vertical angles and you can mark them congruent. Doesn't mean you know what they measure. I don't know what they measure. I just know they're equal. Which means if I've got some algebra to do, I know that I'm going to be using box equals box scenario. Okay? Come to the picture. We got angles 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are the vertical angles? This is important. When the 2 lines cross, the pair of vertical angles are opposite of each other. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. They're back-to-back V's, if that helps. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. And I got all of that by just looking at the picture and recognizing that two lines have crossed. Nobody told me that there's vertical angles there. I just have two lines crossing, which means I can go straight to there must be vertical angles. Think of a double-sided flashlight. I really wish I had a double-sided flashlight, but think of if my pen was a double-sided flashlight and I turned both ends on. That end's beaming light that way, this end is beaming light this way. Those are the vertical angles. You with me? So if you look at the picture, if I highlight, maybe that'll help. Oh, no, not when I do it that way. So there's an angle here, right, and then here's an angle there. So they look like opposite ends of a flashlight. Those are vertical angles. Okay, let's practice with these two concepts right here. So notice when we said when angles are adjacent, all we said is they're side by side. We didn't say anything about value, measure, anything like that at all. It just lets you know the location. The only thing that we've learned about value, measure, is vertical angles are congruent. So look at number 1. Shallow end of the pool. It says find the measure of x. What is it? It's 52. You have two lines crossing, so you have vertical angles. Find them. So 52, think of the opposite-ended flashlight, double-ended flashlight, would be congruent to x. So x equals 52 degrees. Now, number 2 says, tell me the vertical angle pairs. Look at the picture carefully. Remember that it has to be two straight lines crossing. Find the two angles that would be between the two lines that are crossing. Lightly mark it with your pencil. I want you to try it first. Mark the two angles that would be congruent with your pencil. And then now let's see if you got what I got. Answer my question as I point to the screen. Is this one of the straight lines? This one here? Yes, it is. So I'm just going to draw my pen on it to emphasize it. Is this one of the straight lines here? No, it is not. It's a ray. So I'm not going to emphasize it. Is this one of the straight lines here? Yes. So I'm going to emphasize it. Now that I have my two straight lines emphasized, you're looking for the angles that are sandwiched between those lines. That would be which ones? 2 and 4. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Notice angle 3 is sandwiched in between, but if you go opposite of 3, you don't have a solid angle up here. You have it broken into angles 1 and 5. Now, angle 3 would equal angle 1 plus angle 5. That is true. But you don't have like an actual angle itself. All right, go to number 3. We've got some algebra involved. Stay with me, y'all. It says find x. Number 3 is the same thing as number 1. It's just more complex. How do we set it up? We've got multiple choice options. How do we set it up? They're equal to each other. Look at the picture. We have two straight lines. So the vertical angles would be back-to-back angles. They're congruent, which tells me those must be equal, which tells me how to set it up. That x plus 6 has to equal 3x minus 8. And then you would solve that. Solve that and see if you get 7. Did you get 7? Does anybody need to see that part worked? Are you good? Okay, next, linear pair angles. What word do you hear in the word, or in the phrase linear pair? There's a math word in there. What? Line. I want you to write above it in quotes, line, because I want you to think of line as a clue of what linear pair means. It is adjacent angles that form a straight line. And then I'm going to put parentheses. They actually form a straight line that can be referred to as a straight angle. A straight angle is a vocab word that means an angle that opens up all the way to 180 and makes a straight line. So if you look at this picture, notice that we have this straight line right here, and then we have a ray coming out of it, and we have angle 2 and angle 1. I want you to think of puzzle pieces. These two puzzle pieces are put together and they form this straight line. So they are called a linear pair. When you know you have a linear pair, there's a secret math equation associated with it. If I take angle 2, I don't know what it is, but if I take angle 2 and I add it to angle 1, notice I did different marks because they're different measurements. If I add them up, I'm going to get 180 degrees because it's a straight angle, okay? So here's the equation that you can always write when you know you have a linear pair. Angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. Or you could say part plus part equals 180. You don't have to, it's up to you. So this is critical. We're going to have problems where, we're practicing and people are going to say, I have no clue how to set it, I don't know what to do with it. And you're supposed to have memorized in your toolbox that this picture lets me add two things together to equal 180. So we're not just pulling numbers out of thin air. You have to know, I'm looking at a straight line. That's linear pair. I'm going to add them up to equal 180. Let's practice. Go to number 4. Number 4 is the shallow end of the pool. Look at the picture. It says find x. Did you get 95? Yes? Let me show you 2 ways to do it. Okay? One way is to say to yourself, I see a straight line. Ms. Holcombe said that measures 180. So from here all the way over here is 180 degrees. Now you should see your part plus part equals 180. So this is one way to do it. X plus 85 has to equal 180. And then you would solve that. That's one way to do it. Works every time. If that's too much for you, it's too much writing, you feel like you already see the math behind it, let me show you a different technique. It's called the subtraction method. And the subtraction method works from the total. What's the total here? 180. Then you subtract off what you already know and don't need. So you go to your calculator and do 180 minus 85, and it would leave you with the piece left, which is still the same answer, which is exactly what you do here, but it's just you do it faster in your head. So it's 95. X equals 95. All right, try number 5. Remember, this is the same exact math we just did. It's just more complex. Don't lose sight of the math. All you do is remember what a linear pair means. The angles that are beside each other add to equal what? 180. So that's your equation. Now you do have to do something after you get y here. You can't just stop at y. It does ask you for the measure of the angles. So you have to do something else. So I see my straight line. That tells me that from here to here measures 180. So 3y minus 8 plus y plus 6 has to equal 180. If you do get a decimal, don't panic. You end up with 45.5. What do I do with the 45.5? Yeah, you got to go plug it in. We're going to come over here where it says y plus 6, we would plug it in. Where it says 3y minus 8, we would plug it in. You get your two angles. What do you get for the two angles? Angle DEG measures what? Okay, tell me. Did you get these? Okay. So you're just going to plug them in. The big one. Did you get 128.5? You know what I just realized? I didn't ask y'all to go put your phones up and get a calculator, so that's why some of y'all are probably like, I can't do that math in my head. I can't either. Get that down, and we'll take a 2-minute brain break, and then we're going to go exchange our phones. Okay, take your highlighter. Let's highlight the last two vocab words. We've got supplementary angles and complementary angles. Supplementary and complementary. Do you remember what sum means in math? S-U-M? Add. Supplementary angles are angles that add to equal 180. Angles that add to equal 180. True or false? The linear pair angles that we just worked with are supplementary. True? True? Yes. We said that they add together to equal 180. Now we've learned the second vocab word to tie to that, and that is supplementary. Come right here. Oh, well, let me explain the picture. You should know that when I say two angles are supplementary, the picture could be that they are actually adjacent, touching each other, like a linear pair right here. This would be a linear pair. Or they could be disjoint, which means separated, but the numbers, when you add them up to equal 1, like if it adds to equal 180, you would say they're supplementary. Okay? So they don't have to be touching to be supplementary is the point. If I tell you two angles are supplementary, then you just add them up to equal 180. Okay? Let's practice. You try 6 and 7 right now. Try 6 and 7. You're using the same approach as we just did on the last section on front. Try 6 and 7. For 6, what'd you get? Anybody want to tell me? I heard it. 55. For 6, you can look at the picture. This is actually a linear pair, which means they do add up to 180. I can see that it opens up to a flat line, so I could do 180 minus 125, and I get 55. Number 7, we talked about this. Don't let the complexity cause you to forget what the math is. The math is the same. What do the angles do in 7? Do what? They combine to equal 180. This is another picture. Let's practice this vocab word. This is another picture of a linear pair. You have the two angles stacked together like two puzzle pieces, and it forms that straight line. So from here to here measures 180. The whole thing. So it's going to be part plus part equals 180. Look at that and see if you can get to 18. What do you do with the 18 when you're done? You got to plug it in. It doesn't say just find x, it says tell me the measure of the angles. So you would plug 18 in here and here. What do you get when you plug 18 in? You get 90. And you actually get 90 for both of them. So angle ABD is 90 and angle DBC is 90. Okay, I need to talk to you about something because this is going to happen a couple of times in the semester. And it drives some people nuts, and then some people are like, I don't really care. When you look at that picture, do those angles look like 90? No, in my opinion, that ray looks like it's slightly more to one side, right? This is called not drawn to scale. You'll hear that out in like the real world, or like if you're looking at a paper, it'll say not drawn to scale. If you ever look at a cereal box or like granola bar box, usually it's cereal boxes. On the front of the box, they've got a magnified picture of the cereal, and then there's tiny letters that says not drawn to scale or not actual size. You know what I mean? To let you know that, hey, when you pour this cereal out, you're not getting those gigantic Cinnamon Toast Crunch squares that the box looks like it has in there. So this is not drawn to scale. This will happen a couple of times. It's good practice to let you know that you need to lean on the map, not the picture. Okay? Always go by the numbers, not, well, it looks like this. Don't go by looks. All right. The next two have no pictures and have words. This is where geometry is challenging. You got to know what the word means because the word is going to tell you how to set it up. This says given angle A and angle B are supplementary, that's a vocab word, and angle A is 54, and angle B is 2x minus 4, find x. You need to know what supplementary means. It means they do what? They add to equal 180. You can put box plus box equals 180. So that's our approach here. It tells me angle A and angle B are supplementary. Then you plug in what you know. Do I know angle A? What is it? 54. So I'm going to change this to 54. What's angle B? I'm going to change this to 2x minus 4. Now I can see I have just a basic equation solving for x. And what do you get? What do you get? 63? No. 65? Alright. I actually don't have it for some reason. I don't know why. I'm sitting here like trying to understand why I don't have it. Let's do 54 minus 4 would be 50. If I subtract 50 to the other side, I end up with 130 divided by 2. 65. Number 9, find the measure of an angle whose supplement is 101. Find the measure of an angle whose supplement is 101. What does supplement mean? Supplementary. We just practiced it. Supplementary means adds to equal 180. What are they telling me one of the angles is? 101. So you can do this two ways. If you know supplementary means that it adds to 180, you could subtract off the 101 and you have your answer. If you need to see an equation, you got angle plus angle equals 180. One of the angles is 101. And now you can see that the other angle would be 79. Does that make sense? So the way that it's written sounds really complicated, but it's just saying, hey, if one angle is 101 and they're supplementary, tell me the other angle. Okay? Now, supplementary and next, complementary. Complementary is the exact same thing. It's just they don't add to 180, they add to 90. They add to 90. Let's put a right angle symbol here. Y'all stay with me. Angles whose sum is 90. Please stay with me. So angle plus angle equals 90. It's the exact same thing as supplementary, but now complementary means they add to 90. I would like you to try 10 through 13. They are the exact same thing as the previous questions, but we're not adding to 180, we're adding to 90. We're adding to 90. I will put the answers along the way. well, I'll put the answer to 11 along the way, because if I put the answer to the others, like, you would be done. They're short. Did everyone get 18 for number 10? No, I need to.
Okay, I'll go with you. Because I'm early. Oh gosh, yeah.
No, let me just send.
I mean, I wouldn't know what to do.
Oh, you're going right now, though, right?
I can go back up here. I got down here early for some reason. I missed yours the time.
Oh, yeah, it's Thursday.
Yeah. Let me put this
Do you
down.
think it was Wednesday?
No, I just looked. I don't know. Well, maybe I thought my stops would be picked on.
Oh, thank you
Right.
so much.
I'll be right back. Yeah.
What'd you get? It could be 41. I'm going to try that in my head. Did you do 12 plus 2x minus 4 equals 90? Oh, I think I did 80. I did 80. Let's see. So that'd be 90 minus 8 would be 82 divided by 2. Did you get 41? It is 41. We are not doing 14 through 19 at the bottom. I'm not a big fan of always, sometimes, never. We may talk it out tomorrow, but I don't want to do it right now. What did you get for the complementary angle to 24? 66? How do you feel about this? Not bad. We had one section where they're equal. We had one section where they add to 180. Second section where they add to 180. And then a section where they add to 90. You have a Delta Math digital assignment posted that is practicing this, okay?